This is episode 4 of the Focus Factory podcast. And if I'm looking at you this way and this way, I'm joined by Paul Xavier. We'll get to Paul in a second, but the camera that I'm using to record a little bit better than my iMac, I'm recording this off the GH5. So I've got my camera here, my screen is over here. So if it looks like I'm playing tennis, or watching tennis, I'm really not. But anyway, so I'm welcomed by probably, now you hear people say this, but it's really true. This is probably the smartest guy I know. And Paul is only 15 years old. He looks like it, right? How old are you, Paul?
I am 27.
27. Jeez Louise. He's got more in his brains as a 27-year-old than I'll have until I'm 84. And you're going to find out that's so true if you don't know that already. So Paul just got married. So tell us, what's married life like these days, Paul?
It's wonderful. I must say, it's great to have a partner who is with you through thick and thin when things are going good, and you can celebrate together. When things are going bad, to be your cheerleader there, helping you manage the emotional state that you need to be in to keep yourself in state to get through those difficult times. But I absolutely love married life. I wish I did it many years ago with the exact same person, of course, because we've been together for a while now.
Yeah. So Paul just, again, he got in the past year, correct me if I'm wrong, but got married, moved from Rhode Island to New Hampshire. The business that he has, which we'll get into in a second, Next Level Creators, has continued to blow up. And then to build more credibility, just this past weekend, Paul was featured in Entrepreneur Magazine on their website for some details that we'll let Paul talk about rather than me. So it's been, 2019 has been a great year for you.
First 3 months have been fantastic. Yep. Really last year was overwhelming in terms of our success is really exciting. Our client success is what excites me even more. Your success and the hundreds of other filmmakers and creative entrepreneurs that we work with. It's been a very fun year. And just the other day, Entrepreneur did a highlight on us on how we've helped, really filmmakers from all over the world in 2018 to generate over 27 million in sales for their companies. Some of these people being Emmy award-winning filmmakers who kind of lost their edge because the market shifted underneath of them and they started to get things back. People with really big companies scaling them even bigger, all the way down to the person who just bought their first camera and is trying to get that first client, which I know that's where you were when we first started working together. So a big spectrum of people, but a lot of fun and a lot of growth, which is exciting.
Very, very. So full disclosure here, when I first met Paul, I was just growing my business, Media by JP, who sponsors this podcast, by the way. But so Paul was that anchor that I needed. I was totally floundering. And when I came across Paul, it was, I'm pretty sure it was probably off of Facebook, shocker there. And we'll get into that in a second. But Paul's course, Next Level Creators, is now on its 4th iteration. And his course is chock full of information. If you're a video creator, I highly recommend Paul's course. I've done a few testimonials for Paul already, and you'll understand why by the end of this podcast. But his system is not just in my head. It's not just for the video creator. There's so much wisdom that Paul has around how you should be thinking and how you should focus and how you could earn the deal. We'll talk about that as well. I don't know that we're going to have enough time to talk about all the stuff that Paul has that he's created, but he's helped hundreds and hundreds of individuals, and not without a great deal of criticism along the way, right, Paul?
All great things have criticism, right? If you don't have people who are naysayers, who say negative things about you, who are jealous, who decide to vent because things aren't going well in their life or their business right now, and they see someone else doing something different that's working, you're probably not doing enough. So we have a lot of criticism. I get every single day, dozens and dozens of messages from people who say negative things. And when you're encountering that, know that you're doing the right thing for one, and pay attention to the people who are saying good things, the people who you're actually interacting with and working with, and the results they're getting, because it will drown out all that crap.
Yeah. So let's be clear. So the criticism that we're talking about, we're not going to go down this road, but I think it's something that maybe business owners go down. You have naysayers and people that want to blast you and get in your way and tell you that, oh, that's a bad idea. I think a lot of that's jealousy. Think a lot of that's just a lack of education. A lot of that is just a lack of wanting to grow. But a lot of Paul's criticism came because of how much, how many ads Paul has successfully placed out there on Facebook. So give us some numbers, Paul, and you'll find out quickly why the criticism came with all the good as well.
Well, we manage, for ourselves, we spend over $100,000 a month in ads
Wow.
across different platforms. But just on Facebook alone, I mean, we can easily be 25, 70,000 a month there. And when you're hitting a market, sometimes it's called frequency, is how many times has one individual seen your ad over and over and over again. Sometimes the frequency on our ads can be upwards of 30 within a week span. So people will see our ads 30 times, different versions of them. And, I'll just say this, my video ads aren't the highest quality. So we get a lot of criticism from many different perspectives. People not liking the core message in the ad, people not liking the quality of the video, people not liking me because the way I look, people not liking me because of my age. And that's the thing. Everyone, when there are people out there looking at stuff, most people's skepticism radar is at an all-time high the first time they interact with you, right? And if you show them a lot of ads, it's good because you get to start to break down those core beliefs and actually connect with people. And I know this for certain. A lot of the people who have said negative things about me a year ago, now they're our clients and they love us, which is really exciting as well. So it's just it's a nature of doing paid ads and getting in front of new people.
So I know that, I don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce, but I know there's a couple of things that you've developed that you're proud of. And one of those is called Earn the Deal. So how would you describe that to people, and how could business owners apply some of that thought process to their businesses?
The whole philosophy of Earn the Deal comes from really the exchange between you and another individual when you're doing a sale. Okay. And my thought process on it in the beginning was, well, to really get a sale, you need to become the person who's worthy, who's deserving of earning the deal from that client, right? Then as I started to learn more and more about selling things and products and services, then I realized pretty much every sale is exactly the same. You need to get the same things from each person. You need to be able to discern, hey, this person has a problem that I solve. Not only that, it's costing them a lot, and they're really serious about solving it. Then I have to earn the deal by showing them in some way, shape, or form, I can help you to solve that problem. I can give you clarity on that issue, how we can put something in place that's going to fix that for you. And I have to earn the deal from them. So Earn the Deal is just a sales philosophy where instead of going in and pitching people on things and selling things and talking a lot and talking about your product, your service, the concept is, well, how do you earn the deal from your client, and how do they earn it from you? Because there is such a bad thing in this world, or such a thing in this world as bad clients. And you have to be very cautious in business, especially as a service provider, not to let them into your organization, because bad clients will ruin you very quickly, right? So in terms of sales philosophy, and we've put together a sales guide. We've got tons of people trained up on it. We trained you up on it. And yeah, we could talk about mindset on Earn the Deal or how it works really, but overall, it's been the most effective sales training ever developed for creative entrepreneurs.
So I mean, this for sure. I mean, I tell this to people all the time. Mindset, even though Paul's course, it's almost like the human brain. There's so much of it. You wish you could take advantage of all of it, but mindset is that 10% of my brain that I've used, that I've pulled away from Paul. So yeah, if you want to go into some of the mindset discussions, I think that'd be really helpful for the audience.
Sure. So let's just go. Let's keep it on a sales basis rather than the deal, because that's a fun place where a lot of people exist as business owners, and anyone will relate to this. Which is, number one, sales is not about getting a yes from someone. Okay, it's about releasing your attachment to getting a yes and putting all of your focus on diagnosing what does this individual actually want in their life. And I see so many entrepreneurs make this mistake of really going out there to the market and saying, I see this person, they look like someone in my market that I want to work with, so I should pitch them. It's like, that's not actually what you should do. You should look to lead with value in some way, shape, or form. And earn the deal is the whole concept of the conversation is I want to get someone into a conversation that's valuable in and of itself, right? And diagnosis is a very valuable thing. A person who is struggling, they're sick to their stomach all the time, it's extremely valuable to go visit the doctor and have them tell you, here's what's wrong with you. So I want to run a conversation that feels like that for business owners who are sitting there and they're struggling, and I'm trying to grow, but I can't. And I've done all these different things. I've read all the blogs. Nothing's working. Get in a conversation with me. I'll show you how to fix that. I'm going to diagnose what's going wrong. What are you doing that's not leading to the result that you want? And that's the whole concept. First and foremost, for one of the mindset pieces there is release that attachment to the yes. Focus all your energy on diagnosing what's going wrong, because that in and of itself is highly valuable.
So I love that. So one of the notions that I've started to challenge clients that I've been working with is that I think the traditional business model sticks to the traditional budget. Okay, so marketing, we're going to earmark 5 to 10% of our sales on marketing. And in fact, I had a client just today who kind of pushed back with that. Well, let me get back to you on that. We're still trying to figure out if we're going to work with you, we need to take from something else. And so my response was, but you need to consider not what we're going to have to take from here, but what value are we going to add to your sales? What would you say are some ways that people can maybe address that with clients? And again, we're not talking about just video, but just in general, how can we combat that traditional mindset of the budget?
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that. And I don't know if I'd be able to get into all of them in a short period of time, because most businesses have a flawed approach to growing their companies. They think in budgets, and budgets are like, where do they come from? Especially larger companies where, let's just say you're a $50 million, you produce some type of mechanical machinery of some type and you sell it, and you're a $50 million company. And they say, we're going to put $1 million in Q4 towards Facebook ads because we can. It's like, where did that number come from? What is the result of that? How is it success? How is it tracked? And they have no idea. But they know at Q4 they should be marketing because that's when everyone else is. It's like, well, that's, to me, it's a really bullshit way to tell yourself that you're going to go spend $1 million on something you'd have no idea if it's going to work. So our approach with marketing and sales just in general is that there is no budget. There's a means to achieving a specific result that you want in your business or life. And there are specific ways to reverse engineer how to do that. And that's what creates what you invest in something, right? And in marketing, there's a lot of numbers that go into it for really smart media buying and how to do it, what the right strategy is, what the right channel, the right message, right? The right audience you're going to target. All those things have to be put in place so that way you have a successful campaign. But at the end of the day, if you know how much you are willing to spend to get one client, then all you have to do is multiply that by the number of clients you want. That's it. That's where budgets really come into play. In any type of real direct response paid advertising campaign, that's the secret. And that's why budgets don't really exist. It's just, how many clients do you want?
Yeah. And so I would challenge anybody who's listening to what Paul just said. Your immediate, I mean, if you own a large business, your immediate response may be to bristle with that. Or even if you're a small business and you're thinking, well, I can only spend so much. I would really challenge you to marinate on what Paul just said, because if the reward is out there, and risk is always going to come with reward, But if you're working with someone who you feel can really get you that way, why wouldn't you take that risk, if you will, to gain that reward that's so much larger? I don't, yeah, that one I love to talk about. So let's go some more, a little bit deeper. The big mindset shift that you helped me with a lot, Paul, was the way that I think anyone thinks based on how they were raised. And I know you shared a story with me one time about going to a wedding one time and how that totally shifted things. So maybe talk about that.
So my background is my father was a mailman. He retired as a mailman some 30 years. No one in my family that I knew was entrepreneurial in any way, shape, or form. My mom, love her to death, chronic hippie. And she's great. I mean, it's great. But in terms of money,
what does that look like? Is it when you say she's a chronic hippie?
She's a free spirit.
Okay.
She's definitely where I get the emotional side of myself. And she doesn't care about money and those things. But money tells a story about who you are as well and what you care about. And so because it wasn't important to her, for many years, she hasn't had much. And
Sure.
that's, what happens. So because of that, I got to see kind of two polar opposites. Someone who was very dedicated to their work, hardworking, but they never had an entrepreneurial really drive to go and make a ton. So he stayed in the mailman. And then my upbringing was, well, my parents were divorced. So we never really had much money at all. It was always just scraping by. And I went to schools where no one really had any money, played sports, was on teams, but still just nothing where it was like, this is what real wealth looks like. And then my cousin, Erin, and her husband, Chuck, they got married in Florida. And I remember my family was so excited to go. And we drove down to this place. And the house, I just can't tell you. The house that we were at was so big that there was a guest house that was bigger than my actual house. And I was saying one of the rooms in the guest house, which had a pool table in the downstairs, they had a full-time chef, like multiple chefs, I believe. They had a staff of people there just walking around and helping us. And they threw this wedding on for them just because they really liked Chuck. And I was like, this is incredible. I've never been around anything. They had, 2 yachts.
Wow.
And captains there. And those yachts costed more than the captains for those yachts that were there to take us out. They made more in salary than I made, right? And I would have to work 3 years to make what they made in a year. And they were just there for fun.
Wow.
To me, I'd never been around that kind of thing. That's wealth. And for people to live like that, I had to realize internally, the reason I didn't live like that, the reason my family didn't live like that, wasn't a result of where I was from. It was a result of how I was thinking. Because to me, my friends and the people I hung out with and associated with, going and grabbing a beer on a Saturday and a Sunday and a Thursday night and a Wednesday night and doing nothing but playing video games and just hanging out, that was it. Having a job that pays your bills and doing that and just having enough money to go out and grab some drinks with friends. That was success. Until I went to that wedding.
And then it all changed.
That changed it.
Yeah.
It opened my eyes to something else. And that can be a really profound thing. That's why, your environment dictates who you are far more than you think. We are such creatures of habits, human beings, and really any animal. But when you think about it, the fastest and easiest way to make a radical shift in your life or your business is to change the environment that you're in. And that environment doesn't necessarily mean where you physically are. It can mean the people you're hanging out with. It could mean the groups that you're hanging out in online. It could mean the education and the things you're consuming. What is in your environment? Are you just watching Netflix documentaries, or are you watching trainings on how to do something that you are actually going and implementing? changing those things in your environment, which we all have control over, will radically change who you become as a human being.
That's some good stuff. And it's what's changed my life. I can quite honestly say that. I remember walking into a client meeting and I was going to pitch them a video project. And I realized that I was so afraid as a young entrepreneur that I didn't value my work. And I think that's probably like a lot of folks out there when they start their business is, I want to make money, but I'm afraid like maybe profit's a bad word. Like they're going to see through me. They're going to think I just want to get their money from them. And you kind of do, but you still have to provide value. And when you realize that your environment, because I was similar to Paul, like my dad was a body man. Not a bodybuilder, a body man working on cars. And my mom was a church secretary and we didn't make a lot of money. So I caught myself going into these meetings going, maybe these people don't have as much money as like my parents did. So maybe they can't afford me. And what I realized, just reminded myself of Paul's example, that there are opportunities out there for us, provided that we can make that switch, that our background is not like everybody else's background and the needs are out there and you can provide value to those needs, then that's where a business I think can really start to take off.
This leads me to another big principle for Earn the Deal. And I want to share it because I think your listeners will really value this. No matter who you are, small business, medium, large business, you as a person want to get somewhere, right? You want some part of your life to improve. Most likely it's your business because that's why you're probably listening to this, Focus Factory, right? And a business is a collective of human beings that want to go in a specific direction as well. They want to get something. Now no matter who you are, where you are, what level of skills you have, how big your business is, the types of jobs you've been working on for your entire life, if you see someone out there who is currently at $500,000 a year and you've never made more than $5,000 a year, and that person wants to get to $10 million a year, okay, and you have some concept of an idea on how to do that, and you don't make them an offer to help them get there, you have just cost that business owner the opportunity to get what they want because you are too busy judging yourself and judging how amazing that person was and how they would think about you to actually take action and go out there and make an offer. And yes, you will get told no sometimes, but simply having the confidence and courage to go and do that will turn you into the person who people trust doing it.
So confidence, I guess, like focus. So Focus Factory came in due in part to Paul's kind of the grandpa of this show in a way, because focus is a word that he enjoys as well. It's a word that I think it's actually on our website where Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were asked the same question about what contributed to their success. And focus was the word that they both came up with. So how do business owners, if they're lacking focus, if they're lacking confidence, what are a couple of things that you would tell them that they could do on a daily basis that would get them closer to where they need to be?
That's a really good question. So there's a couple things, and I would kind of just take out a piece of paper right now for anyone who's listening and just write down, where does your time go? What does your energy go towards? And oftentimes, if you just start listing it out, just think of last week. What were the things that you did? And you list out everything you did, and you look at it from a completely honest perspective and ask yourself, are these actual things that matter? What I've found is that no matter who you are or where you are, most of the time, what's wrong is your goals that you have and your actions that you're taking are not in alignment to get you where you want to go. And that's different for every type of individual. So this practice works at any level of scale. For example, for me, when I first started out, I had no money. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I would write down what I was doing, and I was looking at, well, I'm spending time with friends. I am working my 9-to-5 job. I am hanging out, just kind of not around people who have the even capability to get me where I want to go. And I think I'm happy. but I've got these goals. One day I'm going to be rich. One day I'm going to make all this money. That kept getting pushed off to the right because I kept staying in the same activities, even though my beliefs and dreams are over here. It wasn't until I looked at those activities and removed a lot of this stuff. I had to cut down on how much I was going to hang out so I could create space for me to do income producing activities, marketing, sales, running a business, which is the most profitable thing any human being can ever do, ever. Warren Buffett, billionaire. He's gotten 20.8% increase on his portfolio per year for the past few years. Marketing and advertising for my business, 5,000% ROI sometimes in a given month. Okay. So in terms of getting a return on investment, there is nothing more profitable than starting your own company and learning how to market and sell your own offer, period. Then, so those activities I realized were out of alignment. Then as I grew, let's say I got to 6 figures, again, I started to realize my actions were out of alignment with getting to 7 figures. I was spending time, yes, I was still marketing and selling, but I was also spending time doing the dishes. I was also spending time going to the grocery store for 2 hours and picking up food and then cooking the food. And that took up a full day out of my week. How much can I get a chef for? Well, $15 an hour over the course of a week. My income producing activities are worth thousands an hour. So why the heck am I doing those things? And again, I realized my goals were out of alignment with the activities I was doing. And that kind of analysis on what you're doing with your hours and the units of hours that you have, you just need to make sure that those things are in alignment. So you have to, doing a practice like that where you write down what you're doing, where you want to go, and then judge them. And if you don't know what activities will get you where you want to go, don't try to figure it out on your own. Consult someone who's actually gotten there and let them tell you, because that's going to, again, the best investment you can make is one in yourself to learn how to do those things.
So like the takeaway I pulled away from that, amongst a lot of stuff, though, is like that worst word in the English language is someday. Because if you keep thinking someday it's going to happen, well, that someday is never going to occur, because you're gonna keep putting something else that's going to be a little bit more important, or so would it seem. And your dreams and goals are never going to get realized. So I like that, very action focused. I like that.
And make your goals real. I plan as if it's happening. I don't plan. I see a lot of people who set goals that they don't believe in for themselves. Or there's that whole thing, like make your goals really big and audacious so they scare the crap out of you. I don't believe in that. I believe in setting goals that internally I feel empowered to wake up and go and execute to hit, because I know that I can do it. And the funny thing is, the more I go at it, the bigger those goals get, because I'm learning more. I'm getting better. My first year, it was 6 figures. Then it was $500,000. Then it was 7 figures, and it happened quicker than I could have expected. But at each time, I didn't set, I'm going to be a billionaire one day. I'm setting goals that are in my gut and in my stomach, and with the things that I know today that I just have to execute on, I know I can go and make happen.
And now you're teaching other people how to do the same thing.
Yeah. Get serious about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are a couple of things that our audience could do this week? What are some things that they could focus on this week to make their business more prosperous, or make themselves more mindful or more focused in their daily habits?
That's a great question. And again, really the highest output activities that an individual can do come back to really self-awareness of what you're actually doing with your time, because that's what you have to invest right now is, yes, if you have a lot of money in the bank that you can invest, that's wonderful, but it's how you invest your time, figuring out where to invest that money, that matters, because that's how it's going to multiply and duplicate for you. So analyze what you're doing, analyze what you're consuming, analyze what's in your environment, create a list of it, and start being ruthless about subtraction, because the things you can remove from your life that you don't need, that aren't moving you towards those goals, are going to give you the freedom and the space to go and do the things you do need to do, like getting the right information, hiring, a mentor. If you have a business, hire an employee to come in and run marketing for you. If you don't know how to market and don't have any money, hire someone or learn from people online for free. It'll take you a little bit longer, who can show you how to market yourself effectively. And there's always a way, but you have to create space for you to make that way successful on your journey. And so subtract the things that are holding you back from doing that.
And from that comes a new business model. Here in my hometown, we've had flooding for the past couple of weeks. I honestly think that somebody should create a model where you go into someone's home and you flood the basement so that they have to get rid of all the crap that we all collect. Here's a blender from 1977. But honestly, we do fill our lives with so much crap, and I'm as guilty as can be because I'm kind of a gearhead. I know that goes against Paul's philosophy. Sorry, Paul. But you're so right. We just fill ourselves with so much crap, and then there's no space to grow and to further ourselves, and that money that we're spending on things that really don't matter get in the way of us really growing our businesses or taking that much needed vacation break or something along those lines.
Yeah, and that's 100% true. I that's why, in terms of a business model, I think you're right. It's really a part of my business model, is to help people see where waste is going. And 9 times out of 10, the waste is in time. The waste is in the way people are thinking about themselves, about money, about who they are as an individual and what they're worthy of or capable of. And those things need to be addressed far before, because the tactics and the strategies are easy. Yes, they evolve. Yes, they improve. Yes, certain things work now that, they work better now than they did a year ago. But that stuff can be learned. It can be implemented very quickly if you can get this thing between your ears working for you.
Right. So we're coming to a close. So I want to ask a self-serving question, but one I think that will help owners too. When we talk about marketing, obviously you've spent so much money and so much research, then you've got so much data about the empirical evidence around the power of video. What are some of the findings that you would share with people, and why do you think video is continuing to grow? I was at a nonprofit meeting just last week where they were providing some input, a client of mine, and their video is more than their photo links or their post links combined. You would take those combined and multiply that times 4, and that's kind of where we saw the video. Why do you think that it's continuing to grow, and where do you see that going into the future?
So there's a key distinction I want to make, because a lot of people are huge video proponents out there for business owners. I want to give you a firm warning, any business owner who's learning. Not all video works, okay? The right video works with the right message, the right audience who's going to see it on the right platform. That's what matters. And in terms of where video is going, it's the most powerful form of communication, because it's the closest thing we have to you knocking on my door and then me opening it up and saying, "Hi, Jeff," right? That's it. Reading something is great. Seeing a picture of something is great. But you have a stronger connection with people when you get to see them, see their tonality, see their body language, hear how they communicate, and hear the words that they're saying that are coming out of their mouth. That is going to be more convincing with the same exact message than if you read it or if you just saw a picture, right? So that's why it's becoming more and more powerful. But you can quickly and easily fail if you do not have the right message for your video in front of the right people, on the right platform.
Right. And that's probably a whole other topic that we might want to get into with Paul in the future, because that's really what his course is. So Paul, for those people who are really interested in growing their video business, and as long as they don't compete directly with me, that's actually a little bit of a joke, because I'm actually shooting this episode, at least the camera on me. I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Caleb Hoover at Hoover Heights Media. He's another videographer in my hometown, but that's what I love about this community, is we're helping each other grow, and there's so much business that's out there. But if other videographers want to know about you, Paul, where would you guide them?
Just go to Google, type in Paul Xavier. You'll see me pop up there. You'll see some of the haters. You'll see some of the people who have actually worked with us, and make your own decision on whether or not these methods make sense to you. And that would be the place to really learn more about us and what we do, and to see if or how we could help you.
That's awesome. I mean, and again, I'll give Paul testimonials every year. Myself and other people I know, Johnny and a few others out there, you know, we've got really great businesses where I don't know Johnny, but me, you know, going from like a 5-figure to a 6-figure. Okay, so Paul, you'd said that the average filmmaker, I think, is making about $58,000 a year.
Yeah,
I think that's what I saw recently. Is that a great living? Absolutely. But is there more out there? Absolutely. And I strongly believe and would encourage people to go to Paul, because he's gonna take you to that next level and encourage you to continue to fight and fight and fight. Be ruthless, be relentless. Paul's the guy that you want to talk to. So Paul, I just want to thank you from my heart that you were able to carve out some time for us today. I know that anybody listening to this is going to get a ton of information out of this. So I just want to thank you.
I appreciate it. It's good to stay focused. So we need you. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. And tell Miranda hi.
I will. Tell Cindy I say hi.
I will. All right. That's all for today's episode. Everybody stay focused, and we will talk to you soon.